German Chancellor Friedrich Merz says that 80% of Syrians in Germany should return to their homeland within the next 3 years. He made the comments alongside Syria's interim President Ahmed al-Sharaa. It is al-Sharaa's first trip to Berlin since ousting longtime dictator Bashar al-Assad in 2024. The focus of talks has been reconstruction and the future of the around 1 million Syrians in Germany. Many arrived as refugees around a decade ago during the peak of the migrant crisis in Europe. Al-Sharaa's visit has also sparked protest over his past as an Islamist leader. The two leaders held a joint press conference after their one-to-one talk.
Over the longer term, within the next 3 years, as President Ahmed has requested, around 80% of Syrians currently residing in Germany should return to their home country.
And for more now, let's bring in Middle East expert Christian Hanelt from the Bertelsmann Foundation. Welcome to the program and thank you for joining us. As we just heard there, the talks focused primarily on the return of Syrian refugees. Now, according to Chancellor Friedrich Merz, 80% should return. Here's how the numbers currently stack up. We have more than 1.3 million Syrians living in Germany, and around 250,000 have become citizens. Do we know how many would like to return to Syria?
I think there are some surveys, but I don't have the figures in mind. I can only tell you, I studied in Syria. The last time when I was in Syria was in 2010. And all Syrians who came here, who are friends of me and my family, all of them have jobs, crucial jobs that help to secure our society and administration and economy. I think it's wisely to be very sensitive when discussing this issue, because a lot of migrants we really need to keep our society and economy running, and we should not make them fear that they are expelled back to their home countries. This is why it's important to give them the opportunity to visit their families back in Syria, to see how things are, and to enable them, if they want to reinvest in their home country, that all of these facilities are being realized.
What would it mean for the German economy if a large number of skilled workers were to leave?
I can only tell this, from my private surroundings, that then part of businesses or administrations have to be closed. And I think it's very important that we have a very, let me say, fact-based and non-emotional discussion about the migrants and the refugees who came here to our country, and to focus on cooperating with Syrian companies, with Syrian administrations, to see that there is a reconstruction which helps them to, let me say, to give an environment to modernize Syria. It's first of all, the Syrian refugees in the neighboring countries and inside Syria, there are already a lot of IDPs. First of all, they need homes and they need jobs. So it's first of all important that the Syrians who are refugees in Lebanon, in Turkey and Iraq and Jordan, a lot of them already returned to Syria. Most of them want to go back to Syria, that there is a political and also economic conditions that enable them to return. And this is why it's very important during this visit of the Syrian interim President al-Sharaa, talking with our German government, to focus on the political framework, meaning that pluralistic structures, inclusion of all sects, religious and ethnic in the society. That is what's important, so that the violence of the militias of the regime against minorities will really end, and that all parts of the society feel that they are part of the modernization of Syria, because we need all parts of the society. And by the way, we have all parts of the sects and ethnic groups of Syria who fled to Germany are also represented here in Germany. And some of them, I've seen it this morning at the German Foreign Office, Druze, Kurds, and Alawites have been demonstrating for their rights of their families at home back in Syria.
Tell us a little bit more about the visit of al-Sharaa, meantime, to Germany, because, I mean, it has stirred controversy here, given that he previously led an Islamist militant group before assuming Syria's leadership. What's your assessment of what has been going on in the country, including protests on the streets?
I think that interim President Sharaa has so far missed a chance. You know, in the beginning, you know, I was in the region when there was the ouster of former dictator Assad, and when al-Sharaa and the Islamists came to power, there was a lot of positive mood, a lot of energy, a lot of hope. All of this has changed since he did not really create one army out of all the militias. Maybe the interim president you know, is still dependent on these terrorist or tried Islamist militias. That is a very big obstacle. That is a very big obstacle to rule of law and also to modernization. If he does not change that structure economically and politically in his country.
Thank you so much, and apologies, we have to leave it there. Middle East expert Christian Hanelt from the Bertelsmann Foundation. We appreciate your time. And let's bring in DW political correspondent Bernd Riegert for more on this. So, Bernd, you know, Chancellor Merz wants 80% of Syrian nationals in Germany to return home in the coming years. Tell us a little bit more about that and how he aims to achieve it.
It's the first time, actually, that Chancellor Friedrich Merz gave these hard numbers to the goals of returnees. 80%, that means 800,000 people would have to leave Germany within the next 3 years, and that is quite a lot. But Chancellor Merz stressed that he and his guest, Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa, agreed on this. So Syria is also willing to take these people back. And Merz doesn't make any difference between migrants and refugees that are seeking for protection. And he says these people only have temporary protection. So this runs out in 2 or 3 years, and then it will not be prolonged, and then these people have to go back. But al-Sharaa and Merz also stressed that the migrants, the Syrian migrants, are an asset for Syria because they are well equipped now and well educated and can go back to Syria and help rebuilding, restructuring the country, and can quite be a bridge between Germany and Syria, and also attract German companies to invest in Syria because they can be sure that there are German-speaking people that can work in these companies. So they both say it's a win-win situation. It's a long-term goal of the conservative parties in the current government in Germany to foster this migration back to Syria. This will draw applause, of course, from conservative and also from the far-right parties, but also meet some criticism from the left spectrum in Germany.
And Bernd, al-Sharaa's visit, we have to mention, it sparked controversy given his past leadership of an Islamist militant group. Tell us a little bit more about the protests that are taking place in Berlin.
Well, there have been some protests, but rather small protests, much smaller than expected. And there have been protests for President al-Sharaa and protests against him. A few hundred people showed up, and Chancellor Merz did not mention the past of his guest at all. He said he's very pleased that he is coming to Berlin. He welcomed him, exchanged some pleasantries. Al-Sharaa, on the other side, was a little bit well, stone-faced and stiff. He did not smile, and he did not give the same warmth back to the German Chancellor. But there is no problem, actually, for the German government to receive Al-Sharaa, since he was endorsed in the White House by President Trump in November already. And he also met Emmanuel Macron, the French president, and he will go on to meet Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. So he has arrived in the West, and he's fully accepted, and nobody will talk about his past as a leader of an Islamist rebel group anymore.
Bernd Riegert in Berlin, DW political correspondent. Thank you.